Minecraft 1.19 is officially coming out on Tuesday, but funnily enough, we've already started to see betas and previews for 1.19.10, the first bug fix or minor update that's coming out after that, and funnily enough, they decide to update the death screen so you'll know what you actually died of, which is exciting by itself, but you'll also notice this is a major parity change to make it more like Java. By having this death screen that actually takes control of the game and is in a very different form, an immediate question that comes to mind for a lot of people is, do I hear hardcore mode in 1.20 for Bedrock? And the answer is that yes, it's significantly more likely now because both Spectator and Hardcore have been on Java but not Bedrock for a very long time, and we saw the kind of behind the scenes Spectator kind of come out during the beta process 1.19. That looks like a feature they're clearly aiming for 1.20, and so maybe at the same time as adding one lost game mode, maybe they can add the other one of Hardcore. We still don't know with 100% certainty, but this death message takes us just a little bit closer. Speaking of a little bit closer, this last week's been very exciting for Minecraft 1.19, and something King Nong has been asking is the big question of like, so did you see that question mark at the feature select animation? It's been appearing in all of the teaser trailers that Minecraft has been putting out this week. I'll show you some examples, more examples here, but obviously if you look at it, you could see that as being, oh, there's the 8 major features in this update, then there's one mystery feature they just haven't revealed yet. I think it is entirely possible there is a mystery feature inside of Minecraft 1.19, something so secret that we genuinely won't know until release, but I think it's a very, 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 very low likelihood, and the reason for that is that we've seen our first official release candidate for Java right now, i.e. this is going to be the actual update they release on Tuesday, or at least so they say, and it doesn't include anything secret, or at least nothing's been discovered yet. I mean, obviously, it could be so secret that we haven't even found it, but the little question mark in the center is much more likely, to my glance, to just kind of be like when you're going to a fighting game selecting, whether it's Super Smash Bros. Or Street Fighter, there's always that question mark random select character, and so that's what I think it's going to be. It's trying to be like a fighting game, and so they're just showing off 8 random features around that question mark random feature thing, but maybe there is something they have to show that we haven't seen yet. I just think it's kind of unlikely. Just like how I thought it was unlikely that more people would be like your boy Stride, who says, I'm really bad at sticking to one survival world. Does anyone else relate? I figured that if there was one channel on the internet where people liked their long-term worlds, it'd be this one, because obviously that's something I stick to really big with my Let's Play world. However, according to the poll I ran on my YouTube channel, what's the first thing you'll do when 1.19 comes out? A lot of people are going to play around the Deep Dark, Mangrove Swamp, and Alley, but 60% of just my audience, just people who have subscribed or at least seen my YouTube posts, will say they're starting a brand new world, which is crazy. It seems to show a lot of people are in this boat of just, wanting to start a new Minecraft world every time they have a new idea, and I guess in that way it's like having a bunch of different paintings on different canvases as opposed to having one giant mega painting with all of it combined, but it's something that I still find to be a little bit perplexing, because to me the joy of Minecraft isn't all of these accomplishments that you're adding up, but maybe next week we should just play around with new worlds just to get that feel that everyone loves. Speaking of feels everyone loves, where is the find an ally to murder on a new world option was another comment I received on that, and my god, the fact that there's more than one of these comments just says that you're all monstrous murderers, and I'm glad that you can't actually do that. That's right, allies cannot be attacked once you've tamed them. Yeah, good luck killing your allies. They can't even be your friends when you kill them. Yeah, that'll show you who's boss. By the way, SSS, because, I'm talking about all these Minecraft 1.19 features, I'm talking about my excitement for this, and his response was, why are you defending Mojang? Minecraft is dying with every update. Every update has less features than the last, or at least if you include 1.17 as 1.18 is the last update, and with all of that, they have the balls to spend an anonymous amount of money on marketing and giving DLC to the marketplace and Minecraft dungeons. If they continue like this, Minecraft will die. You shouldn't be encouraging it, maybe, I think he's saying. It gets a little bit poor on the spelling there, but it's a really good question. Why am I defending Mojang? Because I mentioned in my last video, maybe this is actually an intentional move and it's really smart on their behalf. Rather than spending lots and lots of time on an update, spend less time on the update and then spend the resources saved, because obviously that's 6 months of salary instead of a year, and then spend it on marketing, and now you get a better per update return. And obviously when you look at the other things that they are definitely spending big on, Minecraft Dungeons, or the marketplace, or just marketing as a whole, it's because those are actions that are likely to generate them money in return. And if you think about it, yeah, to a non-Minecraft player, what's the difference between a big update and a small update? One that's amazing and really gets the expectations rolling high. What's the difference between the best update ever and a pretty good update that has a compelling concept? Honestly, not too much. I guess I was trying to say that from a business perspective, if you're looking at the short-term cash-generating view, why does it matter if they've upset a portion of their community if they're still going to be doing well in terms of the revenue? Or in fact, they might be doing better in terms of revenue. This seems like it's the amount of money they've dropped to marketing this update. It makes me think that they do know that this is going to be a big draw to get people back into the game and to get people who haven't bought Minecraft to buy it in the future, which of course is the real point of updates to some extent. Giving you a free update is nice and it's a kind gesture, but getting someone who hasn't bought Minecraft to go, oh, now it has that, I guess I'll buy it, is really one of the big draws. It's been mentioned before, the big Minecraft sales spikes happen just after an update. So yeah, from their perspective, maybe upsetting the community is worth it if you get the big sales boost. But I would say that only works for so long, and to whoever is in charge of the finance or the marketing or the big decisions about how these things go. I think it is very important to keep your core community happy, and I hope the CEO or the studio heads or whoever is actually making the big decisions in the end actually does consider this. By the way, Luke Trips asks, okay, so what if the Warden teaser was a marketing ploy? Hear me out, announce a new boss, delay it, add more features to create hype, delay some more, add some more, create more hype. This keeps looping till the final product is ready to play. And then the final product is just what was planned in the first place. This is an interesting part of Minecraft development, and I don't know if I necessarily agree that they were always planning to spend 2 years working on the Warden, but given that from that trailer from 2 years ago, the one bit that everyone remembers is the Warden, maybe you're less excited about seeing the Copper or whatever else is in there. By the way, because they cancelled the Copper Horn and the Copper Golem didn't win the mob vote, we don't really have many uses for Copper, and most people don't get too hyped for it, which maybe shows why, I guess, listening and being active with the feedback. But there's an interesting thing about trailers, right? In that the trailer tells you immediately which features people are most hyped for and which ones people didn't respond too well to. I would say if you look at the Wild update, some people are hyped for the Deep Dark by itself, minus the Warden. Some people are hyped for the Mangrove Swamp and the chest boats, but very few people found the mud bricks to be their favorite feature. And so using the trailers are an interesting way to gauge people's interest in given features, because you actually get to see it in a kind of gameplay style perspective. So they knew that the Warden would be important, so they focused a lot of attention on that, whereas they knew that the lightning rod just had to detect lightning, and so they didn't need to elaborate, they just added it to the game as it was. I think that one of the big problems of how they announce updates is they do very early version builds. They do the bare minimum they can to get something showable to the public, and then from those things that are showable to the public, people expect them to all be the finished versions that come out in 6 months, when in reality, I don't think many people are excited about, to pick on a feature that I know a good friend of mine, Oraf, likes. The Goat, many people weren't hyped for this as its feature by itself. Or to pick a recent example, the Birch Forest update didn't really get most people going. It was just seen as oh yeah, that's also there, until they later cancelled it. I would say the Fireflies are somewhere in between on that, where everyone made memes about how useless the Fireflies were going to be, and then they removed the one use they were going to have, being eaten by frogs, and so they're why should we add this to the game? The issue there, of course, being this conversation between the community and developers. Should developers consult the community about features like this in an update? Obviously, if you consult on every single feature ever, then you'll get something made by a million people, and it's going to be very loose and bland. To have a certain amount of interest, you need to have these artistic designs where someone just has this great vision and they want to add it. But also sometimes someone has a really good vision and they spend weeks or days or months working on it, and it turns out that it's not very good. Which of those features should be cut and which of those features should be kept? Should every feature worked on in Minecraft just stay to the end? Should they have added Fireflies even though they were going to be useless? Should they have just updated the Birch Forest very quickly at the end to have no use besides visual? These are the questions you can maybe consider, and I don't know what the answer to any of them is, but I think that Mojang at least is going to be internally thinking about more of them. And so 1.19, very interesting time. But to move off that subject, I recently posted on YouTube posts talking about my little search for an apartment. I accidentally, I started searching for an apartment on, I think it's, what's it called, Memorial Day? It's one of those weird American-only holidays. Anyway, so because of Memorial Day, it was a little bit tricky, so I was searching for an apartment. I posted about this, and I just want to use now to get something off my chest that I don't know if I can talk to anyone else in my life, but people on the internet have this real big problem of being confidently incorrect, and sometimes it's actually, like, painful and confusing. And so, yeah, this was on my post where I said I was looking for an apartment I, by the way, now found. So this is my bedroom. It's very clean, and by the way, I just love the floor space. Like, look how much space you get in a bedroom in America. It has its own, I mean, it's obviously right now being taken up by my little ad hoc office, but it has its own kitchen, its own bathroom. I pay for it every month. You tell me if that makes it an apartment, dear internet. But in the meantime, allow me to show you some comments which have actually done precisely that. Apartment? I think you used the wrong word. An apartment is a permanent residence, lol. Ah, man, I did not realize that apartment was only true if you intend to live there forever. If you live somewhere for less than forever, it's not an apartment, it's a place. Ah, you idiot. And then I got another one from Black Rose Cora. Apartment? That's a permanent term, meaning to move. I'm confused. Are you moving to the US? Again, there is no way to live in an apartment for any amount of time that isn't permanent, or at least that's the message being sent right here. I genuinely don't know how people get, like, this level of confidently incorrect about something. Like, because it does, you know, I could understand, like, oh yeah, apartment is for when you're staying for more than, say, a week at a time, because you wouldn't rent an apartment for a week, whereas a hotel is something you rent in that time. But obviously Airbnb exists, so you can rent an apartment for a day if you really want. Obviously, you'd be using it more like a hotel, but it's technically an apartment still, right? And if you're staying in one for 1 month, what if you're staying in, like, a holiday-style villa for a week? I mean, there's all these different terms, but, like, you know, to kind of, like, gatekeep and say, you used the wrong word if you're not living there forever. Unless you die in that place, it's not an apartment, it's a temporary residence. And, like, okay, I'm sorry. I didn't mean to offend you, internet. I didn't realize that the apartment isn't a real apartment. I'll have to go let the people who own it know, I guess. If you are curious, this is a temporary rental. I will be bouncing a little bit back and forth between the US and the UK this year. It looks like, at least for now, that will be Vegas as the part of the US, in case you're curious. And yeah, next year I'm at least very heavily considering and looking into the options regarding visas and whatnot to make it a more permanent thing, especially in the post-COVID world. Whether that's a good idea to do it in Vegas, which has, as I'm recording this, it's 36 degrees Celsius. I'll put that in fake degrees for you right now, people who enjoy those. It's very hot all of the time, and I don't like very hot all of the time. But yeah, I like the city here a lot. It's got all of the upsides of a big city, but it's not actually very big. It's like, I don't know, a half-an-hour drive from one edge of the entire valley to the other. It's surprisingly reachable. But yeah, I have to start asking questions like, ooh, what about a car? You know, like renting a car for like a month makes sense, but like what about for a year? You can't rent a car for, I mean, you can rent a car for a year, but should you? So there's lots of questions I've got to consider, and if you're curious, that's what I'm going through in the background, while of course trying to make sure these videos go out every day. Speaking of every single day, didn't we get a brand new update in less than 6 months? I think that's amazing turnaround time, honestly. Yeah, it's smaller, but it's more to do. I imagine 1.20 will be bigger, and we should hear about it soon, right? I do have to say this is kind of a true thing. Like, if you look at 1.19, not as just being a major update, because of course it's going to come short of the updates that took a longer time, but if you take a look at a 6-month style update, the Wild update does have a lot more features than the last 6-month style update, which was the Buzzy Bees update, by the way, which is best I can tell. It's like bees and honey, and that's about it. So this update does a lot more in a decent amount of time, and if this is the start of their move to a 6-month cycle, hopefully there's a lot of efficiencies, because they haven't really been adding features to 1.19 for the last month and a half, really, and so hopefully they're working in 1.20 now, but it's also possible it goes the other way, and that they're so, demotivated or burned out, or whatever the word you want to use is, that after 1.19 comes out, we wait a whole 6 months just to hear the announcement for 1.20. I hope that that's not true. I do believe that 1.20 is probably going to be a bigger update with a theme that they have, been deliberately kind of working on a little bit in advance, but who knows for sure. We will only know after 1.19 has come out, and I know I'm going to get a ton of questions before then, but again, it's important not to be too preemptive on this stuff. 1.19 is going to be coming out on Tuesday, and also 1.19.10 and all of the other minor version updates might start adding different things if they're already looking at adding the parity menu screen, etc. So there are going to be exciting things between now and 1.20. By the way, Fazli Bizlimi asks about the most important of all of them, Superflat Live when? So while I've been in the US the last 2 weeks, if you're curious, I obviously haven't been streaming because I was doing a bit of a road trip as a fun thing. I will be flying back to the UK on Wednesday, literally the day after the update comes out. They timed it very inconveniently for my plans, but I'm flying back to the UK on Wednesday, which means Thursday, which is usually my stream day, I can do some form of live stream. It probably won't be Superflat Live, it'll be something to do with the Warden, I imagine. I want to play around with him a lot, but episode 26 of the Superflat Live series will be coming in not too long of a time. If you want to make sure you catch it, you can of course subscribe, and by the way, big news, I hope, that tomorrow we'll be seeing the day 256 recap of the Survival Superflat series. Seriously, 156 days I've managed to condense down into less than an hour. For those of you who can't catch every single live stream and just want to see what's been going on, or if you have watched the live streams, it's also fun for a lot of people to catch up. But in either case, I hope you all enjoyed this video. I'm going to go climb a mountain in this 36-degree heat because I'm an idiot, and I'll see you next time. Goodbye.